We are Legion.
How is it going, everybody? And welcome to the Legion of Comics. This is At Week's End, episode number 20, so it's coming right along. And this is a spoiler-filled look back at this week in comics and more. But before we get started, check this out. So this was a really big week, not just for comics, but there was an epic moment that happened today in comic book history for comic fans everywhere. Love it or hate it, the Snyder Cut is coming and the final trailer released today. But we're definitely going to talk about that. But before we get into that, let me jump over to the chat and say hey to the people that have stopped by already. We have Dan Eckerly. How are you doing? Appreciate you stopping by. Lucretius 1971. Hello as always. Remy Q Studios, aka Remy Slabs. What up? What up? We have the Southern Comic Geek. How's it going? Don't do like Panda and forget to hit the live button. That was pretty funny. Panda, apparently, Panda, Austin, and Selwyn were hanging out, really putting on a good show for everybody, but had forgotten to hit the live button for a couple of minutes there. Speaking of Austin, there he is. How's it going, bud? Austin Rains, how are you doing? Good to see you. Yo, Pops McGillicuddy, what is up? No, skip us right to the trailer. We'll get there. And Remy, check your Instagram. All right. And Tolt Fiction is in here. What is going on, brother? Thank you for stopping by. Cheers to you. So today was an awesome day. And yeah, Bart is in the chat. My brother from Belgium right there. So epic. Comic Hunter. Got some more people popping up in here. What is up, Flash 6792? But yeah, the Snyder Cut trailer dropped today, and I'm a DC fanboy. You can tell from my shirt, but you know, I'm a big Superman guy. I loved Man of Steel. Batman vs Superman had me wanting more, and then they delivered more with the Ultimate Cut, which is like 30-something minutes longer. And I don't know if y'all ever watched the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie, but there's a director's cut for that actually adds so much more context to the movie, and with Wilson Fisk and everything, and how the cops were on to him. There's a whole trial scene in it that was taken out, like piece throughout the whole thing. They're working a case. That's kind of how the Ultimate Cut for Batman vs Superman was. You kind of see how Lex was playing everything, and it seemed like there was really bad, choppy editing in that movie if you watch the theatrical cut, but it adds so much more context. So I really did enjoy that Ultimate Cut. And I enjoy the Justice League movie. I'm not delusional. I don't think it's a great movie. I don't think it's really that good, but I enjoy seeing the characters on the screen. But I am pumped for the Snyder Cut. I've been pumped from day one. And let's ask this other person if they're excited. We have Kidrano Prince. What is up? Long time no see.
What's up, man? How you been, man?
Good. How have you been?
I've been cool, man. Just keeping it casual, keeping it, going slow, getting back in the groove of things. Nothing
Glad to
major.
hear
So
it.
yeah,
I know you were down and out for a little while, feeling a little under the weather, but I'm glad to see you're back, man.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, that passed, whoever it was, but then like my wife's birthday was early this month, and then Valentine's, and then like my birthday's this week, and also my
You
wife.
just had it all going on.
Exactly, man. And my wife, she's been studying for a test too, for her career, her job. So we've been cranking down, just hold down, and just doing our own thing. But I'm good.
So, did you watch the Snyder Cut trailer today?
Yeah, it was cool. I liked it.
Are you somebody who's been looking forward to it? Or are you just kind of indifferent to it?
Want to get into it? All right. I mean, I'm hyped for it. Like, I'm looking forward to it. I think Warner Brothers and DC dropped the ball from the beginning, But hopefully it's corrected. It's a good movie for everyone, and we just move on. Honestly.
Yeah, for people, I mean, most people who probably keep up with comic book content on YouTube are pretty aware, but Warner Brothers has been the villain in this whole thing. You have a movie company that gets a producer that then hires a director and then casts a movie, and then you reverse that order and how they call the shots. Like with David Ayers with Suicide Squad, at the very last minute, Warner Brothers saw Guardians of the Galaxy and freaked out and added all the neon lights and the weird cut scenes and the beefed up soundtrack and everything, and completely changed that movie. And at the last minute with Superman versus Batman, they cut down the movie in time length and everything. They hopefully have a lot less hands-on stuff moving forward. Maybe they shot all their toes off at this point. And I think HBO Max having the money behind it this time, Warner Brothers really doesn't, necessarily have as much of a say in it. But I'm pumped for it. And we really need a Marvel guy to ask what they think of it. Let me see if I can find one real quick. What is Chris
What was that,
hashtag the Marvel guy to ask?
The Marvel guy, as I'm sitting here with a stack of some Marvel, some not.
So what is your initial thoughts on the Snyder Cut?
My initial thoughts
after seeing the trailer today.
I'm psyched. I'm hoping that this will bring about something brand new for the Justice League. Honestly, I think that this is what could possibly save this movie, and even what could save the franchise in a way, because I mean, since we've seen Justice League, I want to say 3 years ago now.
Yeah, almost 4.
Yeah.
It was 2017.
4?
Yeah,
2017,
the tragedy that Snyder had happen to him happened in February of 2017, I believe.
Okay. So
because it was November. It was November of 17 when it released in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're looking at close to 4 years now. It's crazy, and on one hand, it's like, why is it taking this long for this to come out? And then on the other hand, I'm really happy that we're getting to that point that it's about to come out.
Now, this is a good point, and this is actually my dad right here. This is the reason why I'm into comics, and this is as good as Henry Cavill is, Chris Reeves is still my Superman. Will always be the Superman in my mind. But this is why I was a fanboy and pumped and pushing the Snyder Cut, moving that hashtag from day one. Like, as soon as that movie came out and you heard what happened, I'm like, we need the original cut of the movie. Like, I was completely ground level with this, and it's because the Donner cut of Superman 2. For those who don't know, Superman 1 and 2 were shot Peter Jackson style. Where Peter Jackson got the style of shooting was from Richard Donner, who did Superman 1 and 2 all in one take. Well, the Salkind brothers, who were the big producers behind it, had a falling out with Richard Donner. So they brought in Richard Lester, the guy who would go on to direct Superman 3 and 4, to chop up and make Superman 2 his own. And it came out. It had some weird stuff to it. But decades later, they went back and put back together Richard Donner's original Superman 2, which is light years better than the theatrical cut. So it's really cool how we've seen that happen in our lifetime now, but on such a grander scale. And because of something like social network, internet, the way that we're all connected, it absolutely pushed to where there's really nothing else they could do. It wasn't going to go away. And this is I want to go back to this fast. I'm sorry. Austin said Snyder Cinematics has a method to it, and when you cut and paste it to death, it kills the direction and context of the film. So I'm glad to see what it was meant to be from the beginning. That it couldn't be more true, like it happened with Batman vs Superman Major. If you go back and watch this Warner Brothers movie called Sucker Punch, same thing, but you could get the extended cut on this. And the extended cut, what they took out of the center was this whole montage scene that explains the entire context of the movie. And they removed that, so it just looked chopped. The whole thing didn't seem like it made sense. The one thing they took out is what was mattered.
I think one of the biggest things that DC runs into is trying to fit all of this into a
Jesus,
tiny
you're
movie.
old.
And
knowing my dad, that's probably the voice actor for the radio broadcast. I'm being serious. Not because he's that old, but
so much into such a small space, and I feel like they just haven't nailed it yet. I feel like they try to do all of this, and then they say, okay, well, we're going to take out this little bit, so that way it fits into that 2.5 hour, 2 hour time span, and it just doesn't do what it needs to do.
I mean, that's what they dropped the ball earlier when I was talking about. Like, they dropped the ball from the get-go. Like, they had Snyder put out a couple movies, in response to what's going on with Marvel. And I don't even want to go between the old Marvel DC bullcrap, because it's all bullcrap at the end of the day. but they should have had like an extended amount of movies planned out from the get-go, not just like 2 or 3 or 4. Like that's where the ball was dropped from the get-go. And
well, I don't know if you saw when Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice was about to come out, they had Kevin Smith come on and do this whole huge DC cinematic universe rollout thing where they announced before Batman vs Superman that this is the date Flash is coming out, this is the date Wonder Woman, this is the date Cyborg. But due to what happened with the weak response on Batman vs Superman made him scared, and then the tragedy with Justice League, and they had to change directions, and the horrible response to that, everything got scrapped and pushed back. It all just fell apart. It was like a house of cards.
Yep.
And go ahead.
Here's my biggest question: when Joss Whedon took the wheel, why did this movie all of a sudden change direction? I get you have a brand new director, you have a brand new
I can answer
idea,
that
but it's just
for you.
Yeah, it wasn't
That's what blew my mind the most.
Here's your answer. First off, it's all in Austin's comment. Zack Snyder, can you imagine going behind somebody like this? Movie was not 100% done. Like you walk in and you see the puzzle pieces of someone's mind, and like Zack Snyder, like this is his own fault too. He has to work with his parameters, you know.
No, that's
like
true. It's his fault, man. It's been movie after movie where like he hasn't like gone to the finish line, and like I get
like
it.
He did it with Watchmen too. Like he made a movie, they brought it down, but then when it comes out a couple years later, you can get the full movie, and when you watch it, it's like dang, like you get everything put back into it. So it's on him to a massive degree that the studio says, hey, we want a movie 2.5 hours long, blah blah blah, and then he's like, all right, I got you, and he sits down and he works out a 4-hour long script.
And see, that's the biggest thing, is he seems to be a lot like Donnie Cates, where he has a great beginning, he has this amazing start, and he just can't finish.
Well, it seems more like Donnie Cates, where he has like a 4-year goal, but he was only given like a 1 movie plan at a time. He's I'd compare him to Tynan's run on Batman, how he's building up this awesome Ghostmaker story arc, but he knew he had to wrap it up at 105, and he just completely destroyed it at 105. But we've never seen something like this where somebody was offered a mulligan in the cinema, in like the world of film. This is millions of dollars people are gambling with, but they said, here's a mulligan, and they started with a $20 million expansion budget, but went way, way beyond that. And dude, I'll be honest with you.
I like how they're trying to, crack the course. I appreciate that, especially with Remy Q. Oh, what's up, man?
What up, Remy?
What's going on, everybody? How you doing?
Doing good.
What's up?
And Ryan.
What's up, guy?
A new guy.
What's up, man? How y'all doing?
Dude, I'm pumped.
Not too bad.
That's good.
See, the fact that you know that the immediate thing you asked me, Mark, was, how did you feel initial reaction from this? And I said, psyched. I'm hoping that this just truly knocks Justice League into a whole new realm. And
I do too.
They go, like, sky's the limit now.
See, that's spoken like a true comic fan, because I know you're predominantly Marvel. I think you want to see more superhero stuff. You know, I'm not. Yeah. I don't want to see a single Marvel project fail. I was hoping Bloodshot was going to be awesome. And let me tell you this: I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Bloodshot, like Vin Diesel's Bloodshot. I like the Bat in the Sun movie that they did straight for YouTube, the Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe. It's like an hour and 20-minute long. Bat and Sun that makes the fan-made stuff like on a really good budget though.
Yep.
They did a Valiant Universe movie and it's fantastic. Jason David Frank plays Bloodshot. It's really cool. But do any of y'all?
Yeah, it is a good one.
Do y'all recognize this image? Let's see if I get it to come up.
The Bloodshot movie with Vin Diesel is so underrated. Like it got screwed on so many levels because of timing and stuff, and so people slept on it. But it was a pretty good action movie. Like action sci-fi.
Yeah, that was when Lex was in the goo. I watched it today. I went back and watched that extended one. I got so psyched. I was like, all right, I got to watch the full-blown extended Batman versus Superman. Let's do it. And so, yeah, that was, again, when he's like in the goo and he's sitting there and the guy's like walking on him too. And I'm like, oh, this is it.
So that was the first time they showed Steppenwolf. And that was what was cut out of Batman vs Superman initially, that was a big piece of it. And I don't know if y'all remember Keylix, the little high-tech little thing that Jor-El had on Krypton, and how the Kryptonian technology was, how it all kind of just like 3D materializes. It was kind of that technology, and so I think that it was stupid to even take that out of it. There was no clear leap from one film to the other in these. Like, it seemed just choppy through. It was weird what they took out, but
it pisses me off so much when any movie, comic, Marvel, DC, whatever, has this amazing idea. And I think biggest failure of all, Power Rangers movie. I was so psyched for that, and it was so amazing, and it just fell flat. And
Jason David Frank talked about that recently on IG and said if they would have just put more action into it, he was already dropping hints about Cobra Kai. He said if they would just take the Cobra Kai formula, because he's supposed to be in the next season of it.
Okay. They take all of this amazing stuff, they're ready to pack it in, and then you see these deleted scenes and stuff, and it's like, that would have saved this movie. That would have made it 1,000 times better.
That was in the extended cut. Like the extended cut was most definitely 1,000 times better. Jeremy, did you watch the theatrical cut?
Well, yes, I did.
Did you notice all the differences in it?
Yeah. Yeah, it seemed like it almost seemed like they had pitted a good. I mean, it was like 20 minutes at the end where they were kind of patching everything together, like sealing everything up. That was the big difference. I mean, obviously there were scenes, fight scenes that they had done up, but
the lady who went to the courthouse to begin with, to kind of like bring all the crap against Superman, who then Clark kind of went to her old home trying to find her, and she had been paid to leave, and then the dude pushed her in front of the train and killed her, wired her up. Like, none of that was in the theatrical cut. The whole
where you mean where he meets the guy with the scratch off, and they had that whole scene where he was actually, they were like, you need to get out of here.
Yeah. And the whole opening scene was ridiculously extended with Jimmy and Lois out in the Middle East, and then you find out that's Lex's guards, and all of that was staged. Like, just the whole setting up Superman to get Batman mad at him, and all of that was lost.
Yeah. But see, that's my thing, is like, we shouldn't need these
super hyper extended cuts of a movie to make it good.
No, yeah, exactly. As soon as I hear that, I'm just out, man.
Split it up.
I'm out.
Like, split it into different
That's
movies.
my thing, is like, my problem with all of Snyder's movies have nothing to do with the runtime. Like, they could be as long or short as you want. It's gonna be boring if it's just a really pretty slideshow. And he just doesn't deliver enough on substance to me to warrant my attention for 4 hours.
Well, Snyder, man, he's a one-trick pony. Like, I like him. He does make great movies. He's a one-trick pony, and the reason why Man of Steel works so well, because like it just like pumped like steroids, and like Clark Kent and the Superman vibe. He just needs that.
I mean, that definitely feels like probably the most streamlined version of Snyder that I can think of. Like that and Dawn of the Dead. Like, that's about as like streamlined as it gets. Oh yeah, 300's another one that stands pretty decent because it's so like slimmed down. They cut a lot of fat out of it. But like Watchmen, he's so bloated on that. Sucker Punch was so bloated. Batman versus Superman.
How would you have one film to make Watchmen? One film to make Watchmen, which isn't an action comic. It's just a drama. And I don't think they did bad with Watchmen at all. I think the theatrical cut was really decent. There was Warner Brothers had this thing, and this was really just like, I was a manager of Movie Stop for like 4 or 5 years, something like that. And during this whole time era I was there, there's this big thing because DVDs were big before streaming services, Blu-ray and all that. So you wanted people to buy them. So these guys would make movies knowing that we're going to put this on film, and when we release it, we're going to offer extra content. Like, that was something that it was a sales. It wasn't just on the director, or wasn't like that. That was the big people behind the scene trying to sell it twice, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of stuff might have just been victim to that.
Well, I mean, they have the platform now. You know what I mean? Like they have HBO Go. There's no more excuses. Like
None.
I mean, this is it. It really is. And like, I'm not trying to like sound harsh, but like there's
Sound
no more
harsh.
excuses.
Well,
I don't like it.
I mean,
I'll wait till after the movie or the series. But
we're living through an evolution of the medium.
Sorry, go ahead. What medium?
I said we're going through an evolution of the medium. All the restraints are gone. No longer are we held to like certain time slots or run times. You know, like an episode of a series can be however long it needs to be to tell the story that particular part of the story is supposed to be told. You know, so you can have 20-minute episodes and 45-minute episodes. You don't have to worry if it's a 30-minute or an hour-long format. You know, now there's anything in between. And so I think it's interesting to see like Zack Snyder in this. We're seeing like a 4-hour movie thing going on here. We've seen Disney with The Mandalorian and WandaVision kind of expand the way we think about the limitations of making a series in that format.
Yep.
And so I do think we're kind of like in these throes of people just like testing things because we're going through a very evolutionary period.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine all of this stuff if I had told you, you know what, Mandalorian, we're only going to do a movie? How would you tell that movie?
Well, did you check the runtime of each of those episodes?
Hours?
Yeah, check the run times of season 2. I think all they did was deliver a movie length. They were so short, like 20-minute
They were
episodes.
much shorter. I wonder if that was COVID related, though.
That's a good point. They were trying to still get it out on.
They were still,
yeah, because weren't they still like right at the end of production when everything shut down?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think Mandalorian was supposed to come out right around the same time it did the year before, but they still had some stuff to finish up. And I think instead of spending a lot of time on it, they kind of just said, okay, what do we absolutely need to get out there and what story needs to be told? And then went with that.
Stories that need to be told. You know, the original plan that they had was to have Justice League be the first movie of 2. Like that was like they had a set layout. So they're going to have basically the superheroes, you know, lose that first set. And clearly, if you've seen Batman vs Superman, you know that Flash is the key to the reset. Like where all this would have been happening before Endgame too, like with the whole snap and getting the stones and resetting. But Flash and the whole Flashpoint reset was going to happen. But I'm afraid that even though this is 4 hours long, we're not going to get the whole Justice League story. We're just going to get an extended, full-fledged version of that first film, and this is going to end somewhere in the nightmare scene.
That's what I'm kind of hoping. I mean, I'm hoping that this is not as big of an ending as what we want it to be. I'm hoping that it's a Infinity War style ending where everyone's just kind of standing around looking at each other like, what is going to happen now? What do we do? Because
I only want them to do that if they know that they can come up and give us the rest.
Oh, like, for sure.
I think either way, like I don't know. I'm still on either way.
You're so on the fence.
How can I not?
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Like, how could you not?
I'm looking for a cliffhanger in this one. I mean, I would like for them to extend it. I think especially, and again, watching Batman vs Superman, that it seemed like they put a lot into that. And I mean, when you're talking about, hey, let's form the Justice League, let's bring in Doomsday, you know, I mean, it was like, how much more can you fit into this one movie? So yeah, I mean, for this next one, even though it's that much longer, if they can give us a little bit of something and then feed us the rest later, I'm okay with that.
Whatever story they were trying to tell, Snyder was trying to tell, and Justice League, just wrap it up at the end of this and just start something fresh and new. Like I said, like you have like the old, like the past people, like they wanted, they fought for it. You got to reward them, and so just bring them. Like I said, that platform for it. Bring them there, satisfy as many mouths as you can, and just go with your new plan, because that's what they need. Like if you keep telling the same story over and over again, they're just trying to fix it. You're not getting nothing done. And
I feel like Snyder's trying to introduce too many characters into too small of a time span.
That's one thing he's always done, though, is he doesn't play to the general audience. That's not his style.
Oh, for sure.
Snyder has never played to the general audience. He always plays directly to the fan base. And I don't know why. You know, that's not how you sell more tickets.
That's true. Yeah.
But that's what he does. I think that's why I enjoy him. Again, being a DC guy, I have no problem with that. I don't go into Batman versus Superman missing context or wondering this or that, but I can't imagine being a general audience member. I would feel like I've been robbed in a lot of the stuff,
But I mean, like,
hey Mark, I'm gonna jump off here real quick, buddy. I'm having like a connection problem. You all are getting real choppy on my end, so
You're breaking my heart.
Hey, I told you I've been waiting to get on here. Look, I'm ready. I'm gonna try to reset everything upstairs. I'll be back in a second.
Right.
Yeah.
Good luck, man.
See, my biggest thing with Snyder is he does a lot of fan service, but at the same time, if you're going to be introducing characters, even if we've been introduced to them before through the comics or whatever source material they're in, your character is totally different from what it was in the comics. So you at least need to say something. Well,
that's what Snyder doesn't do. That's what he doesn't do.
But we've never so good.
We've never had a cyborg.
That's why Man of Steel was so good.
Yeah, he skipped it. Yeah, he just jumped right
Cyborg is
past
gonna be like our like the DC's Black Widow, like even if this took off, it would be 5 years too late by the time you get the movie, and some natural disaster would delay it.
But see, he doesn't do origin stories. He does tiny snippets of origins, and it seems choppy because there's a snippet here, a snippet here, a snippet here of this character. Then you've got this character as a snippet. Then you've got this one over here, and it seems like too much origin.
He's not trying to tell an origin. What he's trying to do, like in Man of Steel, when you're flashing back to stuff on when he's young, that isn't so that you get a piece of his origin. That's so that you get an emotional attachment and character building. Like he's showing you character building through flashbacks, and like that's. Again, it's one of those things that I think is a creative, brilliant side of him, but it doesn't play to a general audience. Like, look at the whole relationship with him and his dad that they've kept all the way through these films, all the way even through like Batman vs Superman when his dad was dead. But you're just seeing that building. It's not about watching him evolve into Superman. It's that those little, I guess, his character defects that the Snyder Superman has. His shortcomings. You're seeing where they come from. And so he completely skipped an origin altogether. It's just showing you where he gets his insecurities from, why he's not coming out into his own, It's just, but I thought that was cool. That was a different way of telling it. But me personally,
not being a DC fan,
near flawless.
I loved
movie.
Man of Steel.
Yeah,
Man of Steel was an amazing movie.
You can watch the opening scene of that and just call it a day with Jor-El. Like it's.
But with Batman vs Superman, I needed the Batman movie to be a Batman movie. It
wasn't a Batman movie.
Yeah, a Superman sequel.
It was a Superman sequel. When they sat down to write that, they said, "All right, what are we going to do for Superman 2? Who's going to be the villain?" And somebody sat up at the table. I don't remember who it was. They said, "Why don't we just have him fight Batman?" And Snyder, just a light bulb went off. He's like, "I'm doing the Dark Knight Returns."
Okay.
I'm like, okay.
It was a mistake in my opinion. I think
it was a bold strategy.
Yeah, well, I mean, they got so bogged down. Yeah, they got so bogged down in their own planning so fast. Like, whenever they started talking about Batman versus Superman, they were already talking about what characters were going to get independent spin-off movies, and it's like, whoa. What they should have done was, after Man of Steel was successful, they should have just done a Justice League movie, had every character just pop up, we're all here, here's Justice League, and then see what the internet says. Like, Twitter is going to tell you 10 minutes after the movie comes out what characters they want to see a solo movie of, But they were so, like, planning all this stuff, they got caught up in, like, this character has to be successful because he has a movie planned 2 years down the road, and it's like, well, what if people don't like that actor? What if Flash just sucks?
And it's almost like we got this amazing.
And you forget the first time we saw Flash was in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the camera footage.
We got this amazing Superman movie. Then you get this Batman versus Superman sequel. And the title character of it, the one who I thought was the best out of everyone, was Wonder Woman.
Easily. She's great until this newest one.
You've got less lines than anyone else. You've got less clout than anyone else, and yet you have the best scenes, the best everything in this movie. And I mean, come on.
That's true. Yeah, they were
it was a
trying to
Civil War
compete.
counter. Yeah.
Yeah, they were coming out at the same time, so that's true. They were aiming for that, which is stupid because they weren't even in the same market at that point. Like,
no, not at all.
You know, your farm team just challenged your major league team. Like, what is going on right now? It was such a bad move. And the way they did those trailers, I can't believe they did double reveals in the trailer.
Oh,
yep. So terrible. Batman versus Superman. Oh.
So my dad grew up loving Superman. He was a huge Superman fan, and I don't know what it is. He's Republican, I'm Democrat. He's Superman, I'm not Superman. So it just is what it is.
That's dumb, but it's so good.
That's my dad.
That's awesome. And
oh my god.
Even he said, he's like, when they first announced they were doing this Man of Steel movie, I loved it. I went to it. I watched it. I loved it. They announced Batman vs. Superman, and when they first announced it, it was called Batman. It wasn't Batman vs. Superman. Then they started to change it. Then they said, oh, we're going to do Batman versus Superman and kind of tie it all in together. And then they just changed it again, Batman Dawn of Justice. And he literally looks at me and throws something on the ground and goes, will they just make a GD Justice League movie already?
Yeah. Well, the Batman vs. Superman, the tagline "Dawn of Justice," take that back to Captain America: The First Avenger. You know, there's that, and I don't know why. Like, we can't expect anything different with the movies, really, because the comics do it all the time. They borrow from each other constantly.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Atom, Remy Q just did that great video a couple of weeks ago where he showed the cover with Hawkeye and the Atom on the arrow, and then he flipped out and showed you the cover from 20 years earlier with Green Arrow. I'm sorry, Hawkeye and Ant-Man, and then had Green Arrow had the Atom on the cover. You know, like they borrow from each other all the time, and they're just that's why Warner Brothers made so many poor decisions coming later into the game than trying to do this whole shared universe thing. After Marvel kind of got theirs, they started freaking out and just trying to copy the winner.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just if they would have if they would have leaned into their own thing, you know, you're going to have people like it or not like it all the same, but that's your best bet. You can't.
Yeah, I mean, the difference is though, like the comics will just swipe an idea and they don't even acknowledge it, you know, and like there are like the hardcore both sides of it that kind of like are like, oh yeah, they're just copying Marvel, but for the most part, comic book fans don't really care. They're like, yeah, I know they stole that from DC, and they don't really bring it up, you know. Whereas like the movies are on such a world stage at this point, like everything's hit with a magnifying glass, and I think DC inevitably fell into the black hole of gravity that they were going to if they were going to try to compete against Marvel at this point.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that Marvel almost got sued by DC over Deadpool being the Slade Wilson of the Marvel universe. I mean, they share
both companies have gotten in trouble with each other numerous times.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at some pictures real quick from this trailer. I want to point a couple things out. You see how they're taking Cyborg like full on, where he's like actually using his suit?
Yeah. Yes, he's not just part of it. Yeah, he's part of the suit, not just wearing it.
Yeah, just like he's supposed to be, and how he's actually going to be doing something in this film. He really didn't get to perform much in the theatrical cut at all. There's a lot of other awesome trailers. And I'll tell you what, one of the coolest parts, in my opinion, of the actual theatrical cut was the flashback when you see the tribes of man fighting alongside the Atlanteans with the old gods, and you get that horrible cameo that they came back in and changed the Green Lantern in the theatrical cut to that random alien. But you get to see you actually see King Atlan like duking it with some parademons, and he's wearing the suit that eventually Arthur will get his hands on. You know.
Mm-hmm.
See, and where is Green Lantern during all of this?
I'm hoping that's
are we just not talking about that because Ryan Reynolds?
Man.
Keep in mind, like, this is a 4-hour movie, and they're showing us a trailer, and some people are worried about getting spoilers, maybe, or too much. 4 hours, and we do know there will be a Green Lantern in this, and I doubt that it's going to just be a random throwaway. And knowing this is HBO's money behind this, I think Kidrano hit it. It's going to push us in the right direction. If they were smart, they would create an amazing HBO verse like, you know how they're test running all this same day as theater release stuff, like really test it, really put some money into it and try to get some people over to your platform because they need viewers right now. They need them bad, like bad.
Yeah, hopefully they just do it right. They end it, like I said, where's Green Lantern at? Hopefully somewhere it ends with him, whoever which one it is, opening up the Green Lantern Corps, and that's when their next main hit is going to be for their platforms. And I'll be down for that, man. Like, I want nothing but good things anywhere, especially comic related.
Yeah, I think
Definitely.
like
cut out there.
Looks like he's frozen.
Brian, he's either testing us. Yeah, he's definitely a little bit frozen right now.
Mannequin challenge. Yeah, but hopefully, man, they just like it's like a gateway to like where they had planned on HBO Max. The Green Lantern Corps they're doing. I think the Doom Patrol is on there right now.
The Doom Patrol's been on. Yeah, that's all stuff that came over.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
you're back.
That's all stuff that came over from the DC Universe app with Titans, Doom Patrol, and stuff like that. But a great example of how they can use this movie to platform their Green Lantern show is we have the Suicide, such positive feedback, like how Ryan said, Twitter answered, and everyone's like, dude, Peacemaker looks awesome. He's 100% comic accurate. John Cena actually fits that perfectly.
Yeah.
Like, he fits that perfectly. So they already have his show in the works. Like, they're like, let's take Suicide Squad, and we don't want people to forget about it or stop caring, and let's do something. And I think again, they're kind of copying that format that Disney Plus just started with the WandaVision, where these aren't just throwaway TV shows. This isn't like how Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was or Inhumans were, where the TV shows are canon to the films, but the films are not beholden to the TV shows. This is
Make
actual.
them mean something.
Yeah, exactly. That WandaVision actually is just an extension of the show, of the universe,
And you need your TV shows to have an impact on your movies, and you need your movies to have an impact on your TV shows. Just like how Marvel did with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, that was
a one-way street, though. That's my point. With Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., whatever happened in there did not matter to the movies. They weren't writing movies checking what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. were doing. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. were just looking at the movies and going, that was a one-way
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was just reacting to, it was street level reactions to whatever happened in the MCU movies, but like you said, like street level people don't really have an impact on the MCU yet.
But and I mean, like when they kind of started this with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and it kind of brought about this idea that you can have a movie and a TV show tie together. And I feel like without that, we might still not be at that point where we'd be seeing all of this amazing content that people are putting out right now. And I really hope that somewhere down the line we could see something huge happen on just Disney Plus or just HBO Max. And
it'd be huge if they would release Black Widow already. They could do it. No, I'm saying they have the movie sitting in the chamber waiting.
I think they're just trying to do it proper justice, man. Like, I think they're not trying to throw it away.
I think they're screwed all the way around on this movie. I don't think they're going to win no matter what.
They're like, we have Mulan and we have Black Widow waiting. Mulan's first. Go ahead and put Mulan out. What? We just lost $300 million in marketing, advertising, and ticket sales. Hold on to Black Widow. Like, that's exactly what they're doing. And HBO, they're just trying to get people over. I mean, they're not about that streaming service is not about to go under by any means, but they want to jump up to a higher competitive level. So they committed to a year of same day.
Yeah, man. Like right now they're like at under 100 million subscribers, and Netflix has like over like 200 million subscribers. So like,
and Netflix has been around for how long? That's
subscription base.
Well, Netflix
they're doing
just lost a lot too.
There is fine print on that HBO same day theatrical release. They only guarantee it for the first 6 months.
That's a good point.
What was that?
The comic vet said if Black Widow wasn't set in the past, we've all have seen it by now. if it actually pushed the actual cinematic, or if it was like Paramount that gets out before it runs into Eternals or Shang-Chi or something, that's a very good point.
But see, I feel like they wouldn't have said it in the past if it didn't help to push the MCU forward in some way, shape, or form.
She's just such a lovable character. I'm
that,
sure it'll build something. Yeah, there'll be
I think
something.
it's like they'll fill in the cracks for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's what Black Widow will do. Fill in the cracks for some. Just like Winter Soldier did a little bit, they fill in the cracks with like the past of.
I wonder if they're wanting to just kind of test the ground to see how much her sister is well received, to see if they can bring her sister in and fill her dead shoes.
If she's even dead.
I don't know. I almost feel like Black Widow is a relic of something else they were going to try to do. Maybe it's what these series became, because we're going to see these series are just going to be like rely very heavily on like the drama and the character building and stuff, so that they're the solution to Zack Snyder's problem. If he had a season of a series to do all the character development, then this Batman versus Superman movie could be just as packed as it is, but it could do it in 2 hours and fit on a movie screen,
See, and
so this is kind of the solution: is their series are going to tell all the story and build the characters, and then we're just going to get these giant action movies that kind of are packed from front to beginning with the big change.
The TV shows are going to be the monthly comics, and the theatrical cuts are the summer events.
Yep.
Yeah.
And see, I'm not even worried at this stage of the game about the origin stories. It's the character development that matters the most. Because if you don't develop a character, that character means nothing. Whether you've known Barry Allen for 5 seconds or 50 years, you have to still develop a character within your own universe, because the Flash that we've seen in Snyder's universe is totally different from the Flash that we ever saw with Grant Gustin. And even his Flash is totally different than any of the Barry Allen that we ever saw in the comics. So, like, you still have to develop these characters in some way, shape, or form and kind of see where everything's going to go.
I really think that they were going to try to go for Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman focused film with Justice League and let Cyborg, Aquaman, and Flash be supporting cast. They come in small roles so you can avoid having to character develop them. They're literally co-stars. It's not about them. It was going to be about, and like you see Joss Whedon try to do it, with the Superman and Batman dealing with their stuff. There's a lot of dialogue between them, or Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman. That was really focused on them for most of that movie. They were the ones getting everything together. But I think with this 4 hour time span that you're going to see a lot more of that. They tried to kind of bring Cyborg in a little bit, but they didn't, like you said, they didn't really commit to it. They just, here's a little argument with his dad. Here's this, but
I always wanted like a buddy cop like vibe from Flash and Cyborg. That's like
that would be
awesome.
Solo
movie. Like I always wanted that. They should.
I was seeing it with him and Aquaman for a minute there at the tail end of that fight. That was a good dynamic.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool the way they did the what's his name, Cybeast or whatever in Teen Titans.
That was
something
fantastic.
like that where they're stuck together is really interesting.
Well, no.
See, and my biggest thing with Snyder is he gives us too much for you to not have any character development and too little to just have it mean nothing. If he needs to find that perfect middle ground, he either is giving too little of character development and the characters are kind of flat, or he's giving way too much character development to fit into what's going on in the movie. And it's kind of like, okay, this is something that I would want to see in Cyborg's own movie. This is not something that I want to see in the Justice League movie. I don't want to see any flashbacks right now. I want to see what is going to happen right here, right now. Almost the same way, the best way to compare it. And I mean, I hate comparing DC to Marvel because truly they're two different beasts. And I honestly don't think that Marvel's winning or the DC's ever going to win. I think that since they are so different, they're on two different playing fields altogether. But the best thing that they could possibly do is just to say, we're going to use Cyborg the same way that Avengers used Hawkeye, as a character to kind of push things forward, but not to really mean anything. I mean, we didn't learn anything about Hawkeye in the first Avenger movie. We didn't really learn anything about Hawkeye in Thor. And then we also didn't really learn anything about Black Widow in the first Avenger movie. They were there to kind of push that forward and to be part of the Avengers, without truly being something major. And it made you want to know more because Hawkeye and Black Widow are talking about Budapest, and now we're going to get to see Budapest possibly or something with them. But at the same time, Snyder's giving us too much because now we want more, but also he's giving us too much because he's taking away from the storyline of the movie that's actually going on.
Now, Bart makes a good point. This is, after like it all tanked with the original Justice League film, they still been working on the Flashpoint movie.
Yeah.
And what Kid Rano's saying about how let's get the Snyder Cut out, let's be done with it, let's move on. That's the answer, the simple answer to being done with it. Flashpoint. You go into Flashpoint, Snyder, you come out of Flashpoint with a white screen where the sky's the limit, and you just wait on the next announcements from Warner Brothers. Seriously. But that's it. There's your clean slate. Anytime you need it, you have it. And just like with the Stones or with Flash, you have that catalyst that can take you to a clean slate whenever you need it. And they've been trying to get to that for whatever reason. We don't have Ben Affleck for much longer. I hope to God we keep Henry Cavill for as long as possible. I hope we keep Gal Gadot for as long as possible. And with something like a Flashpoint movie, you don't have to reslate everything. You can keep and choose and pick, and it's fine. It's completely fine. I like Jason Momoa.
I just wonder how long this can work at scale like that.
Yeah.
People that read comic books, they tend to be a little bit nerdier, and so like confusing timelines are something interesting to us because we just spend time picking them apart till they make sense to us, But
it's another rabbit hole, man.
Your general audience is not going to be down with like, well, this Batman was in this one movie, but now it's a different guy playing Batman, and he's it's going to get so hard to keep a general audience.
Wait. Does the general audience watch WandaVision?
A certain age, yes, but no.
Didn't they just recast Quicksilver from an actor who already played Quicksilver with no reference or actual weight of him actually being the X-Men universe? They did. They even addressed it in that newest episode when they showed the
Mephisto
back of him.
Can we switch to WandaVision now?
Do it. Go for it.
Bro, that show's fucking awesome, man. I love WandaVision.
Oh yeah.
It's like I'm sitting there watching with my wife. My wife loves it too. I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, you know what? I want the best wishes for the Snyder Cut, but I don't see it touching WandaVision at all, man. And that's just me being honest. That's just me being true. Like, they're fucking with us, man.
So you're talking episode 4. You're talking episode 4 and beyond. I'm assuming.
Well, I mean, even like from like 1 to now and going on too, man. Like
the first 3 were rough to get through.
I mean, it was cool, man. I think the first 2 dropped for whatever reason they did it for. I like the vibes of like the black and white stuff. Like my family always watched the black and white, like the I Love Lucy and the Genie Bottles, like the Bewitched stuff. My grandma always watched that, so like that was a cool little throwback. It was rough. I'm glad that episode 3, like that was like the end of that filter.
Got over the hill.
Yeah, and so I was okay with that. But like, you're right. Episode 3 and 4, episode 4 when they turned it up, and I'm all game for that, man.
I had zero problems of episodes 1 and 2. Like it's hard to find people our age that didn't grow up watching the stuff with our parents. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So that was awesome nostalgia, but they added zero plot to it. It was literally just watching parody. We just watched 2 episodes of parody in a short season with short episodes. That was my only grievance with it. I enjoyed the parody. Like, let's watch Vision eat chewing gum. Ha ha ha. Oh, surprise. In 2021, in 2021, we can recreate the special effects of the 1950s. Oh, wow. Didn't know we could do that. So that was the only frustrating part to me. It was funny. It was not needed for 2 episodes.
I mean, I liked it too because like at the end, I forget the chick's name from Thor, this what's her name's sister. It ended up being like they're like watching television, of like what's going on inside the bubble. So like from that perspective, I mean, it makes sense. But like I get what you're saying. Like it was just a fun little, like a little wrench in the road. It lasted like 2 episodes. That's cool. Let's keep it like, and they did it.
going back to general audience, the most general of audiences is my mother-in-law. And the only reason that she started watching Marvel...
Is that a compliment?
Yes and no.
You're so Monday.
So the only reason she started watching the MCU and pretty much anything kind of superhero-esque is because my son is so into superheroes. She's like, you know what? I want to watch this. I want to know what you guys are talking about. I want to know when he gets older what he's talking about. So we sat down and watched a movie a week for 22 weeks straight. And then I said, when WandaVision and all that comes out, and obviously it never did, but when all that comes out, we'll start doing it again and we'll keep going with it. So we haven't been able to sit down and watch WandaVision with her, but she actually watched episode 1 and 2 without us. And she goes, that was so stupid. All they did was rip off Bewitched. And I'm like, but did you like the episodes? Because that's the more important part. It's not, was it a ripoff? Was it a parody? Was it this? It's, did you like it? As a general audience, did you like it? And she goes, I actually kind of did, because it was interesting. I was wondering what was going to happen next. I was wondering, like when the woman from that 70s show started choking and started saying, stop it, stop it, stop it. She's like, what is going on with this woman? And I'm like,
glitch in the Matrix.
Exactly. And I said, so you're hooked, right? She goes, well, yeah. So, I mean, yes, we can say all day long that these are more for the fan service of our comic book nerds. But honestly, I think that WandaVision, Doom Patrol, stuff like that is going to capture a general audience better, because they don't have to go to the theater. They can try it out at home and see if they like it. Kind of like people have done with Game of Thrones. You either
that was
like
a great
it or
way
you don't.
to hook an audience that doesn't like. I guess like those older people are not like, I'm going to go watch Endgame. That looks appealing, but they see something that's playing. Oh, this is in black and white. That looks so familiar. I remember those set pieces from the shows I grew up watching. Seriously, they pulled like the same couch from Dick Van Dyke and everything. Like they did. The attention to detail was all there. So like for that to hook them in and then have that little hiccup ending, like I don't remember that happening in Dick Van Dyke.
See, and the
for me, like,
thing is,
I'm not really like a rewatcher. So for me, like the way that I come into the show is like, hey, this is really cool, because I grew up on all of those shows, you know, just reruns after reruns after reruns on a little black and white TV in the office at my grandma's print shop, you know. So that's what I did, like all summer.
The dial to get a channel.
So they're messing with the rabbit ears.
Yeah. So like I grew up on that stuff. So to have those 2 episodes just be like almost a pure throwback to everything that I knew, you know, like it feels good, because I know I'm probably never going to go back and rewatch the series and be like, oh, well, that sucks that the first 2 episodes that I rewatch are going to be empty and worthless. You know, like I watched them once, I might watch them one more time, but I'll probably never watch them more than twice. And so for me, the way they've structured the show works really good on that level, you know.
But for me, when you find out what is going to be at the end of this, whatever ends up happening at the end of WandaVision, and the Easter egg was in episode 1 or episode 2 or even episode 3. What?
I said whatever happens.
Oh, yeah. You said leprechaun. When I heard the next episode has a big Luke Skywalker-esque moment happening, which I can only assume it's Magneto, and I think Dan just commented on it. Bring in, he just said, I'm wondering when WandaVision will bring in Magneto, Professor X, just thinking that would be the easiest. And I'm leaning toward the Magneto is in the next episode. We know it's Friday. Friday is when we get our big Luke Skywalker moment for this series. But they teased it. I think there was a lot of people already talking about it, so they kind of tease it with Quicksilver, and the X-Men announcements were 100% not present during the Disney investor call, so they were clearly holding something back that was going to be really soon, and they teased it with Quick. They clearly made it like see, when I first saw him at the end of the episode, I assumed that maybe this is Mephisto kind of introducing the multiverse of madness, and Mephisto possibly reached into the wrong universe to kind of pull Quicksilver into Wanda's reality to mess with her for whatever reason. But when they did his flashbacks, it's the same character that got shot by Ultron, and they even well, what happened to your accent? What happened to yours? Like, dude, we got to just address it and let's move on past it because they just casted Evan Peters in Aaron's role for it, which I don't have a problem with that. And Kat pointing out directly to us, not who's that guy, not what is that. She said her words. She recast Pietro.
Yeah.
So I think that's supposed to be straightforward. It's a little odd, but I prefer this actor as Quicksilver.
I agree
honestly,
with you,
I think
but I also think that. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
No, I mean, like the Fox, everyone like back when the X-Men were still making movies, and that was it X-Men. I forget what movie that was, not First Class, but like that the Quicksilver when he popped up in there.
Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past.
Yeah, that's what it was. Like everyone preferred that version of Quicksilver over the one in Age of Ultron.
For sure.
And I think that's like
big time
the MC, and so I think that's them like trying to absorb that and okay, let's bring out of our wing, let's throw some homage to him using that awesome classic, his costume. I loved all of that, and so like they know what they're doing, man. I think they're
my thing
doing a
with
wink,
that,
wink,
man. Like the way that they did him in the X-Men movie, like they made him cool because he like played music and he did cool things while nothing was moving, right? To me, like if I imagine a speedster in the MCU, I imagine like the version we see that's like streaks, and like they move around and they get things done and they're everywhere, like the genie from Aladdin, Whereas the Fox approach was they're so fast everything slows down.
Yeah.
And people really like that, but that's also how DC handled the Flash in the Justice League movie, was everything moved slower because he was faster, and that was kind of boring to me. So I don't know. I kind of like the way that I imagine Marvel is going to handle a speedster.
Well, I don't know if y'all noticed it, but they changed it in WandaVision. Like the way that he moves in WandaVision is exactly how he moved in Age of Ultron. He has the same trails behind him, the same noise to it, the same zip, zip, zips. They're not doing those are just special effects moments. That isn't the only way they've shown him moving. Like that's a speedster thing in comics. They've talked about that and I move so fast, everything else. I mean, that's just a concept of moving fast, But
see, it's
those
also
are just quick little moments.
Yeah, it's also the point of view that we're getting. When Fox nailed it with Quicksilver, it was because we're getting the point of view of what Quicksilver's doing in the moment.
Yeah, because they brought us into his character by putting the headphones on.
It was time in a bottle. And the soundtrack was perfect for that moment too.
Oh, for sure. In Age of Ultron, we were seeing him outside of his element, seeing him from the point of view of other characters like Hawkeye and Captain America. And we did get, when we did in Age of Ultron, when you did see him slow down and you saw him slow down time running toward Cap and knocking Cap on his ass. And I mean, it was phenomenal. You saw the slow, you also saw the fast. When DC did Flash, I felt like, it just wasn't as fun, like you said, Ryan, because when Fox made it fun, they did every little thing. He was moving a bullet. Every little thing that you're seeing, you saw like the before, and then you also saw the aftermath. I feel like when the Flash did it, you kind of just saw him go really slow, and then stuff just kind of happened.
Yep. Next scene.
Yeah. How about the like you said, the outfits, and even when she had her son in his Halloween outfit, he was dressed as Wiccan, like perfectly from the Young Avengers with the blue headband and the red cape over his shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
And I also feel
there's a lot in that last episode.
I also feel that when you see the Flash moving slowly, you only saw that so that way the Flash could see that Superman can keep up with him. I don't think that was to show that the Flash moves faster, moves outside or inside his own time. I think that was literally to show Superman seeing what he's doing in real time.
I think Vision and Quicksilver are dead. Whatever's going on in this bubble, them two.
Yep.
That's why Vision couldn't get out the bubble at the end of the last episode. He was like stuck in that programming where that's where he is. I think there's something, because like someone's, like you said, the Mephisto part. I don't know, but two of like Wanda's closest, dearest, like people she loves, they're being used to manipulate her to do something.
Yep.
And I think that's what they're trying to. I think
What about
Agnes
Agnes?
is like them. I think she's
playing stupid with Vision.
Yep.
I thought she was playing stupid, man. I was telling my wife that I'm like, she's acting. She's playing stupid for sure. She's doing like she's at that at the border where you can just ram through the edge of the bubble.
Yep.
And like she's doing something to like get Vision to do something as well.
I think Vision's dead. I think Quicksilver. I've never really thought that Quicksilver's dead until you said that, because it does kind of make sense now.
Well, she's seen both of them as like their real self.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't think
when
that Sparky's dead.
She was slipping for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that the dog's dead. And then I also, based on that scene we got in episode 5 where Vision puts his hands on the guy's head and basically like snaps him out of this.
Oh,
he kept saying, she's in my head, she's in my head. We never hear him say Wanda's in my head. I think it's Agatha Harkness who's kind of controlling all these people and keeping them inside this bubble and staying inside their head. And Wanda's unaware of who else is pulling the strings in all of this.
Yeah, I also love
everyone in the chat pretty much is on board with it. They're definitely dead. And just to beat a dead horse, dead.
Get it? But there was no funeral for Quicksilver. No one's ever really dead in a superhero movie until there's a funeral.
Unless you're Captain Marvel. Like the only superhero to stay dead.
That's crazy.
I mean, also love too, and how like WandaVision's setting up, because like when the MCU was first starting with Iron Man and like Agent Coulson and Nick Fury, Shield was like the behind all that. Like Shield was curating the Avengers initiative, and so I think
the Puppet Masters.
Yep. And I think Sword. I think it's cool that Swords. They're going to be leading the next wave of the next phase of the MCU.
As you know, they're like the cosmic level Shield. You know what I mean? They do like the space stuff, and we're going Eternals, and we have Thor: Love and Thunder and stuff. But that's a good point with Coulson. That's how they really didn't commit with Shield. Like Coulson's dead in the MCU, but Coulson's alive in Agents of Shield. And I know they addressed how in Agents of Shield, but if you ask anybody in the MCU, he's super dead. And there's plenty of people that would be aware of their exploits. Plenty of people.
But I mean, they kept him dead to the Avengers for a reason. They didn't want anyone to know that he was alive, so that way he could do what he was doing.
There's also like a lot of stuff that goes on in S.H.I.E.L.D. It's like, you think that like Ghost Rider could pop up or Hyde, or there's so many that show got pretty big. They were dealing with some large scale stuff that would definitely hit some radars.
Oh, for sure.
Unless they're just like the worst at their job.
See, I also saw.
I mean, aren't government agencies usually bad at their jobs?
Most government.
What was that one line? An intelligence agency that fears intelligence. No, but I also saw that there's a theory that the director of Sword is actually Ultron coming back.
Oh, that'd be super cool, because you can't get rid of Ultron.
No, you can't.
As time goes and we get more technologically advanced, it makes it more and more impossible to get rid of Ultron, just like how technology is for us. Like when they invented Ultron back in the day, before you had computers in the palm of your hands, you couldn't get rid of Ultron. You definitely can't do it now.
And who destroyed Ultron? Let's go back to
nobody.
Vision. But I mean,
Vision in the movie, but he's out there.
Like, so
he's out there.
Wouldn't it make sense for as soon as Vision is no longer with us, we see someone trying to bring Vision back and
secret. That's a good theory, because remember, Kat Denning stayed behind to see what the director's big secret was, and he wasn't tracking Wanda. He was tracking the decay, the vibranium decay.
Yep.
He was tracking Vision. He didn't care about Wanda. He cares about Vision. Yep. So I wonder what his big secret is. And he was stolen from Sword. I wonder why Sword had him there. Maybe
exactly
wants his body back. But Ultron was such a flop in terms of the MCU movies, which I love that movie. I liked it a lot. There's so much action in it. It was so cool. But
it's a good movie.
Age of Ultron's the one that has the double page splash at the beginning, right? Whenever they like flip the Jeep in the woods.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
In the snow.
Yeah.
Flips the Jeep and Black Widow goes flying off in slow motion, kicks the guy while they're all just right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was awesome, wasn't it?
That was so
that was amazing.
Like such a cool way to like pay homage to like the comics and the format, you know.
Definitely.
Was that still Joss Whedon?
I don't remember.
Yeah, that was Joss Whedon.
Yeah, he did the first two Avengers. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Two. So that.
And who said Whedon can't do fan service?
Oh, dude, that first. No matter how good these movies get, they'll never be an experience like watching the first Avengers for the first time.
Oh yeah, man,
that was
so cool. Yeah,
it's a once in history moment when you bring all these properties together like that. It's been done now. That was the first time it was done, and it was that was it.
Yep.
So did y'all read anything good this week? Kidron,
honestly,
you had to do a lot of keep up read.
I just read Origins.
Ryan's been reading Origins.
It was cool, man. I liked Origins a lot. You got some speaking of Age of Ultron, like I think it's a lot of comparisons to Origins and like that movie, but you got to see like kind of like how like the nanites, I think they're called, how they blend with the living organisms and how they kind of like take over other organisms. So that was a nice little panel in the book.
I love the way that they showed like how much all of the little like nanites took over and completely wrecked the planet. Like they choked out the life and everything. It was really cool the way they portrayed all that.
Yeah, I'm really digging this book, man, or the series. It's really cool.
I felt like the first issue was the weakest one. 4 just came out. The first issue, like it was a lot of beautiful art, but it like you could flip through it real quick and pretty much. But then the second one just like balls deep in lore and stuff and explaining the world and how and why it is what it is, and then you get into the third book and it's just like I don't know. It turned into something even better than I expected it to be. Really.
Yeah, issue 3. I liked how like the machines basically like choosing David as their leader. Like you go to like the panel, like beep boop, beep boop, beep boop. We want to. I like that part a lot. And even in this issue, like they were like, it was really cool. Like this issue was like I keep saying really cool a lot, but like they were like consciously like saying they wanted David to be like to follow his lead because they're aware of what's going on with the nanites. They're aware of like they don't want to be taken over and be controlled. They'd rather die under David's lead than be part of that network. So it's cool.
Sacrifice themselves for the greater good.
Yep.
I need that in my life.
What would that even look like? I mean,
I was gonna say, that's a whole lot of series like coming together in an Avengers like moment.
Give us no
just finish Sonic
just
first.
make the movie.
Yeah,
right.
Let Sonic do that, man. Like, finish Sonic.
That's 2. Like 12 years worth of movies to get to Smash Brothers, man.
Yep.
Have a whole Lord of the Rings style trilogy just to introduce Zelda.
Right.
If you think about
all roads lead to this.
Could you just take all those properties and put them in a movie, have everyone just battle each other out, and then at the end you don't explain anything, and they've just won this amazing prize?
Mortal Kombat.
The Smash Brothers are all fighting, then they all come together as a team just to take on the big white gloved at the end.
Yep.
That's the last thing you fight is just a giant Mickey Mouse hand.
The one
like
playing games.
They were really having a premonition there. Like one day, all of these people are going to have to come together to try to stop the magical hand of Disney from taking over the world.
Right. And we're doing a bad job at it.
Bad job. They keep doing so good.
I know.
The one thing I did pick up this week that I haven't read yet, but I had to pick up just because of the movie coming out soon. I picked up issue 1. I loved reading it. I need to go back and reread it just because I've been reading so much lately. I kind of forgot what it was all about. But this cover was just ominous as could be and phenomenal. Thanos versus Icarus. And I mean, it's just beautiful.
I watch this really wild group of guys that do a show on Friday nights called Blasting and Stashing Comics. And they these are kind of old school collectors, and they just kind of sit there and have drinks and go through what came out, what they read, and they kind of blasted those last two, and they said that they loved the cover. They said that for some reason through the whole issue, everyone was making this face. Like I haven't read it, but he was kind of getting on that one a little bit. But he said it's kind of so far that he's kind of just reintroducing all these characters before the movie to people just to get them out there. But I love Kirby stuff. The concepts behind it and everything. Those things are awesome. It's not Fourth World, but whatever. I like my Fourth World characters.
I know you'll enjoy this. Future State number 2.
Which one is that? Quinn? Harley? Yeah, dude, Harley was seeing Simone DeMayo's artwork on something that's not in space. That was really cool. Mm-hmm. And for just a 2-issue read, man, that was handled really well.
I just love the artwork on the front. It makes me kind of go back to like that old school Harley where she was just not the Joker's pawn, but more her own person, just insane as all can be. And
I like how they play it. She's definitely crazy. She does. She's trying to play with dead bodies in that, at a crime scene, but she's the smartest person in the room in every panel she's in.
Oh, for sure.
Which she has all right to be. I thought that was awesome. Yeah, I heard that was weird. I heard that was really, really weird.
I haven't read it yet. It was in my wife's pull box, so I figured I'd show it off.
Well, I'm not going to spoil it for you then. Yeah. Apparently they do like some kind of like death pack, and they try to like turn each other into plants so they can stay together forever.
Interesting.
Something weird, but it's just a little one-off Valentine's Day special.
Yeah. I just love the whole Harley Poison vibe. It's always been interesting. I've always wanted to see that in a movie. I don't think we've ever really gotten that.
Yeah, that's
Freaky Louie for the win. Once Disney is complete conglomerate, Walt will rise in his robot body.
Yep. The castle at Disneyland will corrode, and out comes Walt, just taking over the world.
Maybe he already has.
So apparently, good news. Scrooge 2 is out. The first one was hilarious. That's a really good movie.
My son
really
liked that
good. Mm-hmm. That's it. They have a great voice cast in those movies.
Yeah,
they do.
Cage knocked it out the park.
One of the few movies that Nicolas Cage doesn't ruin.
Yeah. So good, like third. That's the curse of having kids right there. My son will want to watch the same thing all day long, and I'll finally say, no, we're watching something else, and I'll put on something from my childhood, and he'll end up loving it too, but then he'll want to watch that over and over and over.
See, right now my son loves Jack, so Incredibles 2 has kind of just been on a loop in our house, and he's about to be 2, so I feel like he's taken a little bit too much from Jack lately.
My son did that with the movie Coco for the longest time. He had to watch that like 24/7. At least you're not stuck on like now they have those little animated shorts with the characters from the Incredibles. At least you're not stuck on like a 10-minute loop,
No, I was gonna say, my daughter, she got into Jack, and then she got on that little short, and
oh my god,
yeah,
that's the worst when that happens.
A week from hell,
and nothing being
like I don't know, the Chromecast just stopped working. I can't afford Disney Plus this month. We're gonna have to take 30 days off. Like, oh my god. Between Frozen and Jack, I was losing my mind at one point.
But between Moana and Frozen 2, I was just like, oh, Jesus. If I
can write out to Moana on repeat.
Moana's good.
Oh, for
I can
sure.
write.
Soundtrack's
the
awesome.
Soundtrack is killing it.
Soundtrack is awesome, man.
The Rock is the polar opposite of Nicolas Cage. You can take a trashed out franchise, insert The Rock, and it's all of a sudden entertaining.
Right.
That's why he's
the Fast and Furious franchise.
Jumanji.
He made the Journey. He made Journey to the Center of the Earth cool again. Jumanji, like that's what he does. He comes in and
he's
saves
getting
things.
his own show called Young Rock.
Makes sense.
On NBC, right?
So next week is probably going to be the biggest week of the month.
Oh yeah.
Next week? Oh, Last Ronin, right?
And we have Last Ronin, King in Black coming out. All the Future State titles, of course. But next week is going to be huge.
Shattered Glass, you know that's true.
Yeah.
Dude, that scene whenever the water horse is like trampling her, she's trying to get out the ocean. And Oh my god, man! Like, how do little kids not get PTSD from that scene? Like, it's intense. She's like trying to get to the surface and like.
So Tyler's telling the truth.
Oh man, it's intense, dude.
When my niece hit 18 months, she started going scared, and it was every time Frozen 2 came on. She had to stop watching Frozen for a good month and a half because every time those scenes came on, she just started screaming scared.
Oh my god, it's intense.
What do y'all have on your pool list for next week? I know what you have, Ryan. I'll watch your videos.
King in Black.
Thank you.
King in Black.
I'm assuming you're talking about different covers, or you're going to buy 3 copies of the same cover?
Oh, probably different covers, but so King in Black 4 is coming out, so we're probably going to find out who the God of Light is this week. And I'm hoping to do, I won't give any spoilers away, but I'm hoping that my Wednesday video that I have set up will be able to be live from my local comic shop. I'm going to talk to him about it the next 2 days and see what he says. It also depends on weather, too. We're supposed to get hit really hard, like a foot of snow and overnight.
It'd be good for you guys. Just walk through it.
It's not that simple.
Okay. See, I don't know about snow. I only know humidity.
A foot of snow for us is like an inch of snow for you guys.
We don't get snow. And,
Exactly.
Haven't seen snow forever. If it gets below like certain, well, Ryan, wasn't it you that said if they projected the weather to be like 28 degrees, so they started planning on shutting down schools?
Yeah, it's actually bleeding outside right now. So I've never seen real snow. So like we got like an inch of snow, like all the grass was sticking out through it and stuff. Maybe like 3 years ago, and people are still sharing pictures of. Remember that time? It's like.
Meanwhile, in Wisconsin, it was negative 40, and they were still in school.
No, no, they already canceled school Monday, Tuesday, and possibly Wednesday now.
What are y'all thoughts on more? What are your thoughts on more symbiote villains?
I would love it.
I mean,
honestly,
permanent villains.
I would love it. I honestly think that we need. I think that the way that Donny Cates took Venom to the cosmic realm and kind of kept him there has been what's kind of driving this whole symbiote love forward. And I'm hoping that symbiotes don't just die out. I think if we continue to kind of see where all this goes, we're going to get so much more in comics. And the only ones who are going to win is the fans. So
at what point did you think it's watered down? Because for me personally, that's where I get turned away from it. Like I was happy with Carnage and Venom. Like that, then you have like 1,500 other symbiotes, and you're introducing more every week. Like you get to a point where what's going to happen is they're just going to be a throwaway villain because you can't. Their hype level is not going to be able to stay up because the story's going to get written where they get defeated.
Yeah,
and then down the road they're going to get defeated. And then after you've been defeated a couple of times, you're just a defeatable nobody.
No, for sure. And I mean, I'm not saying that I want Plague to be this big bad guy. I want him to be a thorn in Venom's side the same way that Carnage was for years. The same way that Venom used to be to Spider-Man. Like, that's kind of how I want to see it, is I want there to be I want Plague to kind of play this role of a villain, but not try to be a big bad, if that makes sense.
And this is something I was talking about last couple of days with somebody. It is completely insane, and blows my mind that Marvel would do this. But when they didn't have creative control of X-Men and Fantastic Four, they just tanked the series intentionally. They completely just tanked those series, and that's insane to think about. That you would take X-Men, which is like the most like known biggest comic book characters in the history of comics when you talk on a worldwide scale, and just tank a whole franchise because you don't get your way with film rights. That blows my mind.
That you sold in the first place because you were about to go bankrupt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it almost sounds illegal when you say it out loud.
Yeah.
And hashtag Disney.
Blue and gold, huh?
If you ask any true X-Men fan, none of them want to read the current comics because, and genuinely, they're not good. Sword is
and how many of them are coming out? There's like 13 X titles.
Yeah, there's tons of them right now. It's crazy.
You don't read them?
I only read the Wolverine ongoing.
And if you think about it, they got plans for X-Men. We're expecting to see something X-Men brought into MCU here real soon. So what have they been doing for the past not too long? Just pumping people full of X-Men everywhere you look. X-Men. They're priming the market to receive it.
I just wonder how they're gonna play that because X-Men is almost its own universe, and so I wonder, are they? I don't know. It seems like they should either limit it in the MCU or X-Men should be its own universe that crosses over into the MCU or something,
That's where I thought they were going with that initial Quicksilver thing.
Maybe all the X-Men and MCU series be separate universes, but then they can all show up in the movies. But I don't know. It seems like it's going to get real complicated real fast when you suddenly have a whole nother universe worth of characters.
You should go.
I'm right there with you.
No, y'all should definitely go pick up Astonishing X-Men. I think it was Joss Whedon that wrote it. Joss Whedon was writing some killer comics for a while, man. I'm pretty sure it was him.
I love how you just patted him on the head like I was trying to turn him off.
It works.
Oh yeah, I do it to my son too.
Yeah.
Like, all right, just calm down.
Yeah. He's hopping around wanting attention, so you just touch him.
Yep.
There.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
Now look, he went and got his little sister's new little gel shoes, and he had he walked up with them on in his hands, and he needed them strapped on so he could then walk around on fours. So he started hopping, so I pat him on his head, and he went back to walking around on all four. Worked perfect. You got to know your kids.
Oh, for sure.
I think the X-Men team might be mostly B&C characters, not the 90s cartoon team or Fox team. So how about that wasted little at the end of, what was it? Was it Apocalypse, I think? Yeah, at the end of Apocalypse when they showed the team lined up and it was like the 90s team and they had like close to comic accurate suits and everything, and then they didn't do anything with it.
It's more throwaway, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised too if Marvel just does something really crazy, just picks a bunch of C-listers or something.
But I think
kind of builds a different type of X-Men. Yeah.
I think if they take these C and B characters and then kind of either build up or build out, I think that would kind of be interesting too.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot to look forward to in comics and shows, but I have to work to look forward to in the morning. And for some reason, this 3-year-old's still running around with gel shoes on his hand. So it's gonna be a long night. I'm gonna start working on getting him winded down. So, Tidrano Prince, what do we have to look forward to on the channel coming up?
Well, man, I have a whole bunch of stuff I need to unbox. I've been recording videos that I still have been getting packages in. That's about it for videos wise. Working on orders. Yeah.
I haven't seen anything. I know you were working on some new designs and stuff. How's that coming along?
Oh, it's good. Yeah, I'm just all I'm doing is just converting all the logos now to the interchangeable part. Like I told you, you have something on the way. We mail it out to you soon, so hopefully you'll probably get that in August, maybe. How your mail's been going.
It's kind of picking up. It's not too bad. There's 3 days is down to about 2 weeks. So it ain't bad, man. It ain't bad at all.
Okay.
That's progress.
Still not as good as Amazon, though.
Yeah. And Chris, you're chugging right along with subscribers and stuff. You've been pumping out content. But you
definitely
got coming up.
So right now we're at about 330, and I'm hoping that by the end of February, beginning of March, we hit 400. So I wanted to kind of say what I'll be doing for that 400 subscriber giveaway. So I've got this box right here. It's a mystery box from Street Level Hero. And I'm basically just going to take some comics, fill her up, and send it out. So hopefully I'll just be able to hit that 400 mark and be able to, if you want Marvel or you like DC, like you're like Mark and you're weird and I don't know, Maybe you want some DC, maybe you want some Marvel, maybe you want some Power Rangers. Whoever ends up winning that box, I'm basically just going to say, what do you love? And I'm just going to go and find some fun stuff and fill it up with as much as I possibly can and send it off, because I want to support the people that support me. I think it's awesome that we're doing so much to support each other in this community. I know that there's a lot of YouTubers out there that kind of just rake in all the views and rake in the money, but for me, it's not about that. It's about being able to do this with you guys and talk comics with you guys. So I want to make sure that I'm kind of giving back to the comic community for all the love that you guys have given me over the past 6-7 months.
Sounds good. And you say, I still like Marvel stuff. I still read Marvel stuff. I'm surrounded by Marvel books right now. I've got like 3 DC up there and this awesome Jim Lee Superman, because that's just an iconic cover.
I mean, I've got Flash 750 right behind me, so I get it.
There you go. Balance. Life's all about balance.
For sure.
Ryan, tell us about the next creator interview, Cosmic Campfire Edition you got coming up.
I had an interview with David Pepos that dropped this past Tuesday, so go check that out because it is awesome.
It is. It's really good.
There's always my new comic book day videos that drop on Thursdays, so there's a new episode of that for this coming Wednesday, the 17th. And then this morning, I dropped a review of an indie comic called El Crudo, and it's about an ape with a drug problem that is trapped behind enemy lines in the Vietnam War. And yes, an orangutan. So he's a very special. He has a very particular set of skills, but he also has a opioid addiction. So it's really cool stuff. He's very existential. It's surprisingly interesting. Yeah, and then Tuesday I'll have an interview with Milton Lawson, who is an indie creator that has his biggest thing was from Source Point Press. He did a book called Thompson Heller Detective Interstellar, and so that mini just wrapped up, but I have some exclusive information I get to drop about the trade and what will be included with that. So check that out on Tuesday morning.
So you're making announcements now?
Yeah, apparently.
Wow, that's awesome. Really cool. Well, I'm really excited because I have my new comic book day video that dropped yesterday, and it's a huge, awesome week coming up. So that was a fun one to talk about, as well as I have the collab video that I do with the Comic Vet that gets posted onto his channel. That guy right there, that logo.
Boom, Comic Army.
Hashtag Comic Army, that's right. So you can always go over to his channel and so give him a subscribe and check that out, because every Sunday, the new Comic Book Day video comes up on Saturdays, and on every Sunday, he posts the top picks video that we do. And I just dropped his link in the chat. So everybody who's out there, if you haven't already subbed him up, hit that link, go give him a subscribe, check that video out. He's an awesome guy, does awesome content as well. And tomorrow I have my first statue unboxing video I'm putting up on the channel. I have statues, but I haven't bought one since I started doing the channel. And I didn't buy this one. It was an AOK for my LCS. And Finn was a big part of making this video, and he did awesome. And I was really excited about it. And I don't do edited videos. So me and Finn tried to film a couple of things and figure out how to put them up into StreamYard, but they were too large. So we tried to screen share. It became a thing, and it was late at night. And I ended up just figuring out how to edit videos within 5 minutes. And
my first channel, that's where it all started. Was that?
Yeah, it goes, man.
I feel so stupid. It seems so simple. But I don't have any big plans to start editing a lot of videos, but now I know it can be done. But yeah, so be on the lookout for that video tomorrow. Finn's super proud of it. He totally knocks it out of the park. He's the best Vanna White to my Pat Sajak I've ever seen. So, and then of course, Tuesday I'm going to try to do a little live hangout around lunchtime. Hopefully people can pop in while they're on their breaks and talk comics, new comic book day videos. And then I have some unboxing stuff and whatnot coming out this week as well. I got a stack of cool stuff I picked up from the local haul, and I don't know, just kind of pump it out randomly. But I appreciate everyone getting in here, and ha to Austin, because we did this in under 15 minutes.
14 minutes, 59 seconds. Yeah.
Boom. All right, everybody. I appreciate y'all hopping on tonight. Thank you, everybody in the chat. And as always, we are Legion.